You know, I nearly didn't make this video about cicadas and the way they die and all the rest of it because, well, let's just say YouTube's become very sensitive and silly of late. It's a really, really sad thing that's gone on, I can tell you. Really sad. Warning, this video contains graphic images of what happens to cicadas in their final few weeks of life. The warning's here for a reason because there are going to be some people who are going to get shocked with what they see in this video. What you see in this video is all natural. This is going to seem very, very sad, but this is very natural as well. Please try and understand that. And if you go past this warning and then still say, oh, I was shocked with what I saw, you only have yourself to blame. Okay, this is a cicada. It has been attacked by a bird, I believe. Sometimes it's still alive when they're like this. It's missing its back part there. Yes, it is still kicking somehow. That is actually extremely sad to see, okay? Very, very sad. The back part, the bird's beaks come along, snip off the back part, and unfortunately that little guy there is gonna die. I'm a bit curious to see whether it's a boy or a girl, and I do believe that was a male. I can see the drum area there, but up the back there, totally missing. Poor little thing, eh? I did some reading up about these green cicadas. It's a very Australian style cicada. They are one of the noisiest insects in the world. That is if they could make a noise, but sadly because this one has been so damaged by a bird attack, the days of this one making a noise to find a mate are over. What I will do is the right thing. I don't know what's the right thing or the wrong thing. I'll get the cicada back up on the tree. And who knows, maybe it might have one little suck of sap and just enjoy its days out as naturally as it can. Good luck, little fella. Better luck in your next life. Here's another illustration of how dangerous it is for a cicada to come up out of ground from being underground for so many years. This Cicada Nymph here was about to transform into an adult, and it looks like the ants have started to attack it. It's only partially come out of its shell. It's only early in the morning, and I can only assume once it warms up there'll be a mass of ants crawling over this Cicada Nymph that was trying to be an adult, and that'll be a massive bit of food for the ant colony. The ants get rewarded immensely for that sort of find. I see this sort of thing all the time. There's really nothing I can do. I can't unpick this cicada now and send it somewhere else to come out. I think it's gone. The ants would have been laying in bites in there. Sadly, it's goodnight sister for little cicada. Okay, I see another cicada on the ground here, and this may be a very different cause of death. Let's just bring it up onto a bit of concrete here, and we will try and work out what's happened with this little guy. Okay, well, I'm not seeing any sort of injury on this. It's a male. I seem to only be seeing males this year. This is really weird. I have not seen a female, and I'm assuming here this cicada has died of natural causes. It's had its couple of weeks of life. As I do see, it's a little bit weak. I think it might be a little bit left in this one. But it's lost all the colour in its eyes. That's death by natural causes. That's what I'm thinking. Now, the only consolation to dying like this is we can assume this cicada has bred in the final weeks of its life, which is what they do. And its little offspring, well, they'll be seeded into trees. They'll spend 7 years underground and they'll come back at another time, and I'll put the cicada back on the grass so nature can take its toll. I better come in and save this. This worries me as well. Little snail, little turbo, you're probably better off over here somewhere. That's better. It's always interesting when it's cicada season. Often along here, I'll see cicada shells. Oh, I've just seen something that really, really annoys me. Okay. There we go. You know what that is? That is someone who decided to bag up their dog poop and just chuck it on the ground. Massive problem where I live. It's going on all the time. Anyway, let's segue to something rather nice. And oh, actually I can see a cicada. There's two shells there, okay? And if I come up here really, really slowly and very stealthily, there's a cicada there. Would have come out of that shell there, and it's just strengthening up its little body and wings. Yeah! Rather a stealthy place to do that activity in there. You have to be pretty eagle-eyed to see that. I'm a bit curious about that cicada. I'll just very carefully pick him or her up. Oh, it's only young. It's beautiful, yeah. This is a very, very beautiful, smaller scale cicada. It's a lot smaller than those green grocer ones and the black-eyed cicadas. Wow, it is very, very nice. I'm just very carefully looking underneath this quite small cicada. I do believe it's a male. I can see the drums there and the backside bit looks like a male. Boy, I hope I'm correct there. Anyway, I shouldn't tinker with nature like that, and we will put nature back where nature was before. Okay, get that little cicada in there like that. Okay, reset and ready for life. That was a really, really nice find. Very sad about finding the dog poo, hey? This is now up the other end of the day. The sun's out, the ants are going crazy. Let's see how they've gone and eaten up that cicada. Well, I'm sort of wondering whether the ants have penetrated that cicada there and are nibbling away at the meat that's inside. They're certainly a lot more frantic than this morning. Maybe one way to get a full scope of the damage is actually just grab that cicada off the bricks there and bring it up to the top. That is without getting bitten by ants. Okay, that's given me a bit of a better perspective. I can see what's going on there. As you can see where the ants are traveling, they've actually penetrated the rear of the cicada where the shell's meeting where the cicada's coming out. You can see them running in and out of there. And when I moved the cicada, it was actually very light, so I dare say they have taken away a lot of the meat that was inside. Well, there's one thing about ants, they don't stop until the job has been done. If I come in with my hand and I pick that up, there is absolutely no weight left in that. The ants have basically totally eaten out that poor little cicada. And nature's good like that. In nature, absolutely nothing goes to waste. I just hope I have enough educational material in this video to make the YouTube gods happy these days. Okay, yes, I've got some more cicadas here right next to the NBN box, which is an epic fail. Okay, oh, there's actually a couple here. Let's see what's happened to this one. It doesn't look like it's in good shape. Let's just do a bit of a doctor on this one. Okay, the wing hasn't formed properly. This is another problem cicadas have. See the wing there? This isn't bird attack. This is, unfortunately, when it's come up out of its shell, it hasn't been able to pump its wings up. Maybe it fell off the area where it came out of its shell. And sadly, because this cicada can't fly, it is doomed. Let's see what sex this cicada is too while we're at it. Okay, it's a male because where my thumb is, that's one drum on that side, there's a drum on the other side. Okay, very sad, isn't it, hey? But that's sometimes the fate of these little guys. I just put that cicada down there. In the end, nature will take its toll. A bird will see that fluttering around in the grass there. It'll be a meal for a bird. That's the way nature plays out. I'm not going to interrupt nature. This one here, let's take a look what's happened to this one. Let's play Cicada Doctor on this one. Okay, it's got a little bit of, well, has it got any life left in it? I don't think so. I think this has died of natural causes. Let's see. Okay, this is a girl, a female cicada, because there's no drums there. Okay, just where my thumb is, no drums. And the back end bit here is shaped very differently to a male. That part there is the female section there. So, yes, I think there's a little bit of life left in her, maybe a little tiny bit, but she's died of natural causes, and that's the way these cicadas play out. She would have laid eggs somewhere in a tree. She would have mated before that, of course, and her offspring will pop up many, many years later. I believe it's 7 years. I hope I'm correct there. It's always some sort of prime number thing. Anyway, I'll put her back down and she will just become basically food to the ants or whatever else is around here. Nice and gently, of course. That's a cicada with the damaged wings. Maybe what I should do, which would be nicer, is put it up on a tree, and at least then maybe it'll get some feed. It certainly can't fly, but then again, when it's on a tree like this, a bird's still going to pick it off. Well, I've just found a tree which has got a whole stack of the cicada shells going on there, so this would be a very, very logical spot to put this poor cicada. Okay, cicada rescue. I think that's the best thing to do, and hopefully it'll get some sap. It'll have a, happy end of life. But sadly it can't fly. And really, if you're going to be a full-on cicada, you need to fly. I've certainly tried my best here. Let's just hope the cicada plays out its last days in a nice way, gets a bit of a feed. And who knows, it may find a mate if it's very lucky, but I doubt it. In nature, if you're a little bit damaged, well, you sort of get ignored. I think my guess is that a bird will come into this tree later in the day or very soon, see that cicada, and it'll be a good night sister. Well, birds are like that. They'll take advantage of something like that real fast. Well, this is sad to see. I think that's a flowery baker. That's obviously a cicada. There's ants attacking this. It's quite stiff actually. It's been dead for a while. Yes, I can see a hole there in that cicada. It may have been bird attack. That one there. Might have been bird attack. I'll just drag it over to the grass and the ants can keep going on that one right there. Being a curious here, I've seen quite a few of those now. So I'm not exactly sure what that means. Well, there's a little chap on the ground there looking very lost and disorientated. Yeah, it's sometimes like that. They come off the tree and they just seem like they don't know where they're going. So I might give this one a bit of a hand. I think that's a flowery baker. Let's just see if it's a boy or a girl. I believe that is a boy. Nice big red drums there. Stunning. Very, very nice. And this here looks like the perfect spot to put that cicada. Look at that. You can barely see it on that tree. It matches it perfectly. Have a good day and keep away from them birds. Okay, well here's a victim, cicada victim. It looks like it's a male. I'm just looking at it from afar at the moment. And it seems like the ants have got that one. It's a nice meal for the ant colony. This one may have died of natural causes, although look at its wing there. Okay, its wing's a bit fried up, so it couldn't fly. So it's got a problem there. If the cicadas can't fly and be like a normal cicada, well, it's just going to become food for the rest of the insect kingdom. Yes, the sad fact about nature is it doesn't really suffer imperfections that well, and what I will do is get the cicada that's passed away over onto the grass somewhere. It's going to be well, a bit more natural, I dare say, if you've been eaten up by the ants there. Cicadas are pretty good at adapting to things that we have in life. Normally they'll like to find a tree or something to come up and pull out of their shell. This one's found my car wheel and tyre. That's the shell there, nice and soft, so it's a fresh one. And the cicada up here is just preparing itself and it's getting ready for its last few weeks of life. I'm always a bit curious whether we've got a boy or a girl here, and I'll just very carefully, oh, nice and strong, because I've only just come out of my shell. It's another boy. It's been a very, very vibrant boy season. Haven't had that many girls. Wow, look at that thing ready to fly. There's a lot of birds around, so what I'll do is I'll set this cicada on its way on the tree here. There we go, that's what they like to do. Have a great final few weeks of life, my pretty. I love cicadas, you know, the way they climb. They actually can crab sideways and backwards as well. They do all sorts of strange things when they're on trees, I can tell you that. Well, along here is normally where I see a ton of redback spiders. I bet you if I look carefully there I could find one, but over to the other side I've seen something a little bit cicada horrific. Well, that there, that's a female cicada, and they are pony ants. Because they're pony ants, I don't really want to put my finger down there because they've got a nasty bite, a nasty sting. One part of me is curious to see what has taken out the cicada, and I'm not going to mess with these ants. I'll let the ants do what they want to do. Yeah, I can't see any bird injuries there. I can only assume this little girl here has passed away from natural causes. It's definitely a girl that got that type of shape there at the back. Well, I'll let the ants have that meal there. That's going to be a fantastic thing for the pony ant colony. Look at those things. Sort of a pretty ant, but don't mess with them. Oh, this is a graphic one. That is the cicada. That's been eaten by bird attack because the back end of the cicada is totally missing. And look at those black ants, those crazy black ants going in for a feed there. That is just gruesome. And the fact that that cicada is still alive, yeah, you know, what do you do in this situation? I suppose, look, it's one of these things, nature feeds nature, and this is all part of the natural process, and even the ants are having to go at me. Get off me! The way I got to look at it is, well, in the end, in nature, everything becomes a meal for something else. The cicada ends up being a meal for the bird, it ends up being a meal for the ants, and that's the sort of way it plays out. It's a natural thing, don't get too upset. What I will do is I'll move this over to the grass. Okay, so let it play out a little bit more naturally, because being on the footpath, someone may come along and step on that. What name would you give that cicada? Well, I wouldn't give it the name Lucky, I can tell you that. Now what's amazing is all the ants didn't take long to work out that cicada was moved over to the grass, and if we come in on a cicada there, very sad, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? All the ants are back there feeding, yay! Go ant colony, go! It's just another reminder to me of how awesome and dangerous ant colonies are. Never get in the way of an ant colony. Once they've got you in their sights, you're gonna be a goner. I'm doing one of those one day later things, and it's the cicada that was being eaten by the pony ants. I can see the carcass is still there. Let's see who's feeding on that now. Well, it looks like to me the pony ants have had their feed and another ant colony has come in for a feed there. It does look like those little red ants, like the ones I see in my front fence area. Nature has that very bizarre pecking order where, well, one critter has a feed, the next one comes along. In fact, there's those great big jawed ants underneath that as well. I've forgotten the name of those guys. I can see them scattering around there. I hope you can see that. See those great big jawed things? I wonder if they're part of the same species. There's one there, okay, right in the middle of the screen. Yes, that cicada is being food for lots of people. There's still a bit of weight in this, so in saying that, there must be still a fair bit of meat left in that carcass. I know a lot of people struggle with seeing this, but just understand that when there's a big cicada season, they've had so much food into the animal and insect realm, it's not funny. I mean, the birds have a feast, and so do multiple ant colonies. Yay! I'm actually trying to work out whether those big-headed ants are friend or foe of those little red ones. I sometimes see them having little battles, or is that communication? Because I don't know my ants, I've got no idea what's going on between those two types of ants. It doesn't look like friendly stuff to me. That's all I could say. Oh yes, some more tragedy, cicada tragedy. And I think I know what's going on here, but we'll investigate a little bit. That is a cicada shell. I do believe the cicada has popped out of this on the cement here, and it hasn't got very far at all. And it has been attacked by ants, and that's what you're looking at there. I had to double look at this to see what was going on there, and I don't think that cicada even had time to really fully prime itself up. It's just become a giant ant meal. It's a strange one, although it's not strange. Ants will often take the advantage of a cicada in that time when it's coming out of its shell, and I can't even see that this cicada has got its wings pumped up. And the ants aren't going to like me. Oh, the ants are on me now. Yeah, see that there? Oh my goodness me, the poor thing, it is still alive. But that's nature, you know. The ants love a live meal, I can tell you, they love it. What I will do here is I'll pick this up, as crazy as that sounds, and I'll get it over to the grass. And oh, it's a cicada. I've just got a person walking by. It's a cicada that never made it out of its shell. Well, it made it out of its shell, but it never got its wings or anything, and the ants have attacked it. And I'll just put the shell next to that there. So, well, it's a bit of a dynamic duo, isn't it? But that cicada is a goner. The ants won't take long at all to work out what's going on, and you'll see them, they'll track across this way now, over to where the cicada is. There'll be little messages sent from ant to ant, and that's going to be a fantastic meal for the ant colony! Just on that cicada there, I had a person walking a dog asking what I was up to, and he may have heard a bit of chit-chat on the side, and me trying to talk to that person. But it confirms to me again, with a fly on my face, that the most dangerous time for the cicada is when it's coming out of its shell after its many, many years underground and trying to be a winged thing for its final few weeks of life. That transition period is really dangerous for them. I'm revisiting this cicada now. It's 3 days after I initially saw this one being taken out by ants, and I can tell you something, I don't think there is very much left of this cicada. It is as light as a feather. Look at that, it's just completely falling apart. The ants have completely taken it out, and whatever else. It would only been other things there as well, not just ants. Wow. Quite amazing, isn't it, hey? Quite amazing. Cicadas are adapting to our society, and I can show you proof of that. There's one on the wall here, and I'm calling it the Besser brick cicada. It has got almost the perfect camouflage to hide away and look like a Besser brick. In nature, the best way to survive is to quickly adapt to the changing environment. I do believe that cicada has done that, but then again, many people will say, Leo, you're fake and gay. This video is going to be a real test for the ridiculousness that YouTube has become. It's become basically a joke as far as I'm concerned with what I hear going on, what I see going on. And I'll just finish this video off here with some extra video I had of the cicada being eaten by the black ants. It's just amazing watching how the ant colonies work. Highly educational watching this. Highly educational.